Welcome to For the Record, an unfiltered view on current trends and timeless advice for surviving in the aesthetics industry. Whether you're an injector, practice owner, sales rep, or marketer, it's time to set the record straight. Each week we cut through the chaos and showcase diverse perspectives and winning ideas from the best minds in the industry. I'm your host, Dr. Tiffany Hall, Chief Growth Officer at Aesthetic Record. Now, let's get started on this week's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of For the Record. And season 4 is flying by, maybe because we had Aesthetic Next right in the middle of it, but it has been a whirlwind of a season already. And this train's going to keep on rolling. We have with us today a practicing esthetician of 20 years who made a strategic move to become a business coach, consultant, aesthetics guru, and to help other practices to experience what she's experienced as a successful business owner, to really grow their skincare business, to grow their business acumen, to get better with Instagram, with operations, with hiring and firing, all the things. She was at Aesthetic Next 5.0 as a speaker, and she's here with us today. We have with us Laura Crowley from Laura Jeannette and Co, who is a fabulous consultant and has been a big advocate of AR. We have fallen in love with her, and I think today you will as well. So Laura, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Really, really happy to be here and honored to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you too, because my team came back after a call with you and said, you have got to meet this person. She is awesome. So they just instantly thought you were fantastic. I met you, I think, in Boston at Modern Beauty Con, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, yeah, you're the bee's knees. Like, you're doing it in real life, but you're also now coaching people on it. You've had a long, lustrous career full of many accolades. So give our listeners a little bit of background about what you were doing prior to deciding to really become more of a sort of mentor, train the trainer, if you will, of our industry.
Oh, I just wanted to say yes. And we met back in the spring and you were just absolutely lovely. And immediately I think we connected like immediately. And it was just, you were so nice and your team was just so lovely. So I'm so happy to be here. So yes, I have been an esthetician since I think I was 19 years old. So almost 20 years now, and grew. It was a front desk to a day spa as an esthetician. Then it transitioned to a med spa. A really top selling esthetician at the med spa was hitting all kinds of crazy goals, retail goals, service goals. Got super into education and loved everything about the science of skincare products and selling and education, became the director of education. And then I started taking some marketing classes and from all these gurus about social media and marketing, and loved all the content part of that, and was seeing all these other avenues where, there's all these other streams of income for estheticians, for injectors, for so many other people. And I just thought, what's next? And I thought okay, how can I help, these practices grow and make this, make it more smooth, have it more smoothly. And I thought there was a disconnect a little bit from the marketing department, from the management department, to all the operators, to the clients. And I thought okay, everybody needs to be talking a little bit more, and how can we all really, really work together? And there has to be kind of a better, smarter way to work. And so I thought there was just a missing piece. And I was like, let me help these practices grow at the rate that I'm seeing and that I want to grow my own brand myself. So that's why I kind of started this journey. And 6 months later, I got my first huge 6-figure contract. And it was incredible and amazing. And it's been an amazing ride to now have their practice grow and double their revenue within 6 months.
Yeah, and also I'm minding your own P's and Q's, right? Minding your own esthetician services and your own spa, and trying to do both, which I think is the place that many of us fall into, trying to do 2 different things at once, both at high levels really well. Also, having kids and husbands and wives and business partners, and there's a lot to manage there. And I think what you mentioned of, the departments talking to each other, Laura, there are no departments. So often I hear that the one person is all the things. When we were much smaller at AR, they would call in and we'd have a guy say, "Oh, call our accounting department." Well, it was just him with a different voice. And, it was like there was no department. It was just us. We were like this little tiny little company. And now obviously we're getting divisions and departments and business units and things. It's growing, but that's a huge transition. So as you go into a practice, let's say a plastic surgery office who now like wants to add a med spa, or or vice versa. I'm a med spa wanting to now add a physician on staff to do plastic surgery as part of my practice extension. Where do you start with that? How do you think about a practice actually growing, or even bringing on more estheticians and focusing on skincare? Like, what's like the first two or three things you look at for practice and say, "Yep, you're ready," or "Oh my God, we have a lot of work to do."
I think they're I mean, number one is why. We have to look at like why do they, why do you want to add a med spa? Are you bored? Do you want, and it's okay. Are you bored? Do you want more money? Do you see like a big shiny thing over there? Do you see everybody else doing it? Your peers having success? It's not easy and it's a lot of work. And so you have to have the right people. And like your point, I've seen so many, I just was at another an event, and this one manager was doing all the things like operations, marketing, social media for these three practices. And they didn't even know like a simple how like the reps can help you. And there's so many behind like the reps and what they have and their marketing departments and their online catalogs. And some of the stuff you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, I'm not saying put tons of stock photos, definitely not. That's what I'm saying. But all the information is there for you and they're there to help you too. So I think having somebody alongside of you, like myself and my team, can point you in that like all those avenues to help you grow and help you manage all these operations and all your teams.
Well, it's interesting. I was just at the doctor this morning getting my semaglutide, if you guys all must know. And a person who works there that does my semaglutide, she's like, "Hey, listen, can I just hire you to be a mentor for me to show me what to train on? Like how to prepare my training plan. Do I go get thread training? Do I get, injectables? Should I be doing PLLA? All the things." And I think to myself about that. I don't inject at all, right? Not an injector, but I'm pretty well versed on what things you should and shouldn't do, who has a good class, what's the content outcome. So it's like coaching. I feel like what you're doing with practices is just because you are the coach doesn't mean that you're the most amazing business owner on planet Earth. It means you know how to get the best out of somebody else and get the best out of their operations or their productivity, or help them when they have those emotional breakdown days and they're like, "I'm going to quit the whole freaking thing. I'm done with it." So how does the coaching work for you? Because I feel like in our industry, because competition is so incredibly fierce, you can't really ask your neighbor. Like you can't reach out with a lifeline saying, "Hey, help me." In many cases, people have a network, but in many cases they don't. How do you help as a coach? Because that's, to me, if nothing else, if you had a person just to be like your sounding board, what a relief as a business owner that would be, just to have another person to say yes or no, good idea, bad idea, try it out.
I mean, there's so many to unpack there. First of all, I feel like networking was like the biggest thing. I have networked with even my biggest competition that's like right down the street from me. And she is lovely and she is growing and she is scaling. And we had the best lunch. So I feel like you have to grow with each other. It's like she's never going to be me and I'm never going to be her. And that's totally okay. She's never going to have my hands. I'm not going to have her hands or her touch. And we're a little different too. She is a nurse practitioner, but I just think it's all the time. I say community over competition. Everybody. There's so many clients for everybody. So please just always have that in mind and try to just, because you never know, you might be with them at a conference someday or speaking right next to them. But we can go back to I think like so many people again are working in their business instead of on their business. And you have to focus on your brand too and what direction you're going with. What do you want to do in a year? What do you want to do in the next 5 years? Do you want to sell in 10 years? You have to, so sometimes it's just a consultation for business coaching, right? You do a consultation for somebody's skincare or their full face, if they want a full lift or anything like that. It's a consultation that my team and I do with you about what you want and what your goals are. How much do you want to make in a day? How much do you want to make in an hour? What are do you want to work 4 days a week? Do you want to work 6? Like, do you want to work 3? Usually, I mean, I have one person right now who he's working 5, sometimes 6, but man, like, they want to be at the beach most of the time. So we're trying to hire amazing, a CEO of operations because he doesn't want to handle any of that stuff, and so sometimes it's like hiring a lot of people to take on that and all that part of it for the operations and the marketing and then he can just focus on his family and injecting and really like practicing his
Yeah, I don't know if you guys watch Billions. I'm a huge Billions fan. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but we just hired our very own Wendy here to be like a performance coach, if you will, for our company. And I think about that a lot about like a psychologist or psychiatrist. They're not in your life. They don't do what you do, but they are coaching you and helping you almost from like an outsider perspective looking in, saying, I don't know anything about your core inner workings of your day, but looking at this from the outside in at 30,000 feet, like, what the hell are you doing? This is making sense to me. And I think there's oftentimes a benefit in having someone who's not in your business. If it's your attorney or your accountant or whoever else, like they're almost too much in the fold with you to have a removed opinion of things. But I do think that there's this coaching idea. Everyone should have a business coach. Like I think everyone should have a person who's in their life saying, I'm going to be your gut check and be honest with you and tell you what you really should be doing and what's a terrible idea. Because so oftentimes if you're an influencer, you're important, you're a big name, they're going to tell you what you want to hear to get your business or to keep you in their good graces and never really tell you the cold hard truth of if you want to go to the beach every day and have all these, this time off, you cannot run a practice at 6 days a week and do all the jobs. Like it's not real. You're going to have to come off the dollar a little bit and hire someone to help you. So I think too, even getting that right, like when you think about a practice who's going to open or scale, how do you help them incorporate their lifestyle? Because I think we miss that too. Like how do you want your practice to operate? Is it, high margin, low volume, or is it low margin, high volume? Is it, 4 days a week? How do you kind of help people think through that and almost like make their plan? Because again, what you mentioned, like what's your why for growing? Like if it's just to make more money, then that's a different plan. Then I love it so much, I want to keep doing more. Like how do you kind of think about that strategically and get them aligned to what their growth plan is and actually to achieve it? That's a loaded question. Sorry.
It's all right. We again, we come in with like a really big questionnaire for them, and a really a questionnaire and kind of like yes, a 30,000 foot view. And that's like what I'm best at is that 35, like look and like their lifestyle, their family, talking to the people that work there, what's working, what's not. And yeah, what do they want? They usually, I found hate the operations part. And so I'm always wondering like why you could make so much money doing this, but you're refusing to hire somebody to help with like social media. Like you make your money by like cutting or injecting and stuff, but are refusing to pay somebody, $30 to $50 an hour to help you with as like a VA or a marketing person, again, a social media person, tons of VAs, an assistant. It was one of the first, I think this first move I did is hire a VA. And now she's 10 times more. Like she's, I hired two VAs actually, and they're my everything. And then actually before that though, I hired a business coach. So a business coach, two VAs to help you grow and scale, because I don't like doing all the things, and I can't do all the things. If I'm going to grow and scale, I can't be everywhere. And I don't like doing all the stuff. Like for example, my deck for aesthetic necks, I hate Canva. So I gave that to one of them and I was like, can you help me with this? I love talking and I love talking to people and presenting, but Canva is not my strong suit. They're like the ones that, are awesome with my graphics. So all the graphics that you see that I have on my Instagrams and stuff, that's not me.
Well, you're the first person to ever bring up a VA, and I want to take a pause and put a pin in that and talk about that because so to Canva, I think I might have mentioned this on a podcast a few weeks ago. I've spent the equivalent of like 11,000 hours in Canva last year, which is like, if you do the math, really stupid. But I love Canva and I want to get good at it. But even now, it's like I had to know how to do it for myself. But now, we have a person, if I build an email in Canva, a person on Fiverr puts it into our email system. I don't do it. I don't build the email. They do it in 10 minutes. And that's what they do all day long. Like, it would take me a full hour at what I bill for consulting is, compared to her $10 an hour rate, it was like stupid. I think it's a business decision. It's a control issue for a lot of people. They feel a fear to delegate and they want to not lose control. But at the same time, if you look at your hourly rate, this is how I do the math. If it's going to cost our company more for me to do it myself than to hire someone else to do it, I am hurting my business, substantially hurting my business to invest in me, not only because of what it would cost me to do that job, but not do the jobs I need to be doing instead, as opposed to having a person who does this thing all day long. It's like going to a surgeon. You wouldn't go to a GP and try to figure out how to do plastic surgery. You go to a plastic surgeon. It's just a smarter way to do business. But VAs, I love them. We have tons of virtual people in our company that work all around the world. And they are so helpful because they're inexpensive and they can focus on certain parts of your business, help grow it. But how do you find them? Like we use Upwork here a lot. We use, various different referral agencies and things. That where do you find yours? Because Upwork's been the best option for us. So if you're wanting to get a VA, you got to really look for, what you want. And there's little pockets of people all over the country that can help you find them, or even all over the world. But we use Upwork. So what's your best advice for VAs?
I've seen Fever, I've seen Upwork, I've seen all those, but honestly, I kind of fell into I had a business coach and I was doing a photo shoot, and one of my girlfriends that was a photographer, she was using this specific VA, and she had just started. She came from this amazing school, and she had just started her VA business, and she was using her. And so my business coach, we kind of liked, we were kind of doing the photo shoot together. And by the end, my business coach said to me, if you don't hire her, and this was before I needed her, this was before I could afford her, everything. And she said, if you don't hire her today, I can honestly say 10 people that I could fill her books tomorrow. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. And I just started giving her small tasks and organization tasks and just stuff that I don't want to do, that I could be better focusing on building my brand and reaching out to leads and building those relationships and networking. And it slowly grew from there. And now we've been together a year and a half, and yeah, I adore her. And then my other one, I just saw something special in her. I actually had worked with her. She was an esthetician, and I had worked with her for years, and she decided to become a stay-at-home mom. But I always had her in the back of my mind. She was a great friend and she was a great coworker, but she was just a hustler and a hard worker. And I always kept saying, I'm going to use you someday. And she just didn't understand what. And I was like, you can work from home. I want to design the life that you want to live. And I need your brain. She's a researcher. She's so good with Instagram and social media and reels and again, Canva. And she just is in the industry. She has a pulse on the industry. And I was like, I need your eyes. I need your ears. And then it just started and developed from there. And now she is doing tech and she's doing tech and helping with systems and operations and managing events and coordinating these big, huge, med spa events that we do. And it's just super creative and super fun. But yeah, they're awesome. And I highly recommend, even if it's just 10 hours a week, something to start, have somebody just do 10 hours a week with you just to start. And even cleaning up your email inbox. That was one of the first things they did. My email inbox was just a mess.
I have 99,000 unread emails literally in my inbox right now. So I can tell you, I know how you feel when it comes to your inbox being a hot mess. It would be, people would have a panic attack if they had my email inbox. I have a person who checks my email during the day and I still can't get it all checked. So if you're emailing me, don't text me or send a carrier pigeon. You better look that way. No,
I think they did. I think she did have a heart attack when she first got in there. Cause I think I had 3 or 4 different email addresses, and she was just like, what is going on here? Let's clean this up for you.
But it's tough. All the administrative things you have to do, as a business owner yourself, and also helping others to figure out how to do it on their own. You have to practice what you preach. You've got to be a good steward of what you're recommending. But to that point, I want to talk a little bit about you as an esthetician doing training in the offices as well, because you get to wear a hat that not many consultants get to wear, which is you're an actual practicing, esthetician practitioner. You're in the industry. I have a lot of curiosity around introducing new services to a practice, because I feel like skincare, first of all, is a huge gap. And we're going to get into that in just a second. But if I'm going into practice saying, okay, you've just bought a new device, or you have a new modality, or you have a new product that you want to launch, what is your take on that? How do you help them to understand not only how to use it, physically do the thing, but also put it into their culture? Because I feel like that's where, think about a VA, all the training guides, all the marketing materials around it, all the emails you have to send, getting your practitioners on board, looking at their success metrics. How do you think about, from a coaching standpoint, getting a practice on board, a new modality, and actually making it successful? Because that, to me, if we could crack that nut, we'd have a lot more successful practices out there.
think it comes down like your number one is like your education. Like, do they understand it? Do they even understand the modality? Like, you can go on and on about why they're bringing that in. So is it, were people asking for it? Like where I have all these people that bringing in like something for acne, but they have no acne clients. It's like, why are you bringing in this modality that you don't have like the clientele for it? So I I think it comes down, yeah, to education. Once they do bring it in, how many models like really, like give them like a full view about like how many models each of you are going to do, block out the time, the trainings, the reps need to come back. The reps need to be, basically on call. The trainers need to be on call. How many trainings do you think you need? It's so much of coordinating all that. So we kind of take it on that, role. And usually for our contracts, we kind of come in and do like, we're like an interim like CEO and kind of managing, or interim manager managing all these things for you to make it run really, really smoothly. But yes, it comes down to education, and you can't just have like one training in house and then be ready to launch. That's just not going to happen. Like the risk of burning somebody or hurting somebody, then your reputation in the area is just shot. That's so scary to me. So definitely, I think you should do as many people as possible until you're comfortable, many different skin types. I think you need to, open the book. I think you need to open the manuals. I think like there's so many now, all these like universities and, great information online about it. And then give like a non-biased, go look at non-biased opinions about, the modality. I think that's super important. If you can, look online or ask many people, about their non-biased opinion and just like the, modality in general. But I think people just love, our industry loves like tons of hands-on, as do I. But yeah, you definitely have to study, you have to live, breathe it. Before you have to watch YouTube videos, you have to do all the things before you bring it on. You have to write down the protocol again for you and have it like right here, and just simple practices like that. Live it, breathe it, and I think you'll be really successful and be ahead of the curve.
Yeah, what I think is so interesting. I was a rep for Galderma for many years, and I would go into practice. We would spend the money to train a practice, and then to what you're saying, they would like be done. Like the trainer came in, she taught me how to inject, the product, and then we're gone, and never again we think about it. And as a rep, you're in there every day trying to get them to hustle and like get on board with it, and they haven't seen the results yet, but they always choose the hardest patient ever. Like a lot, I've injected this person 86 times. It's never worked before, but it's going to work today miraculously with this product. I think model selection is huge to your point, like getting lots of models, but a large N to practice on. But I think the other part, and this is what I can't figure out about business owners, is they would say to me, well, we can't make them use this product. We have all the products here. They can use whatever they want. They're medical professionals. I'm like, in any business, in a hospital, you have formulary. In a medical practice, you have a preferred vendor. That's normal to say as a business owner, I'm going to limit my spend to these 4 products or these 8 products because I get a better volume discount. They're all medically very similar. They have the same, adverse event portfolio, the same, results portfolio. But from a money perspective, I'm going to limit what you can use to these, and this is what we're going to use. And if you don't want to be here and use them, then unfortunately, this is what we do here. I think that we have missed that in this industry, that we want to be medical practices so badly here that we do things that don't make any sense to me in the context of a business operation, because a hospital works the same way, right? You have to go get it approved. They can only prescribe 2 different drugs for the same issue. They have all these limitations. How do you help them to understand that there is a business concept? Like even with skincare, don't carry every single brand. Pick your top 2 or 3. You can't diversify that much and have any chance at volume discounts or even having a rep look at you and give you special things because you're not buying enough to matter. So how do you help them kind of understand or grasp that concept? Or do you and say, against my thoughts, that it should be a free for all?
I think again, you have to look at what they're doing. Yes, I mean, we can go into the retail aspect of like if you have like another 2 hours, but I feel like they're usually my experience is some of them aren't, they're not coming from the aesthetic background. They're coming from the hospital background. So they're not business people. They're not salesmen. And they say that to me all the time. Like, but I'm like, okay, you're not a salesman, but it is your job to give the best result possible for your clients and your patients. And that's including, skincare and these, yes, it's very expensive to, open, as we know, open a med spa and carry these lines and carry volume if they're talking about pharmaceuticals or of course these retail lines, but there's a lot of creative ways that you can start too, but you have to be, you have to be talking to your patients all the time and about the best to give the best outcomes and the best results. But yes, I think you can't start off, you see people start off with like three. And I'm like, why don't you start off with just one retail line? And I'm like, and why are you getting that retail line? Have you used it yourself? Do you like it? Or did a rep just come in? Like you have to live it and breathe it. Like, do you like it yourself? Or I've went into some practices and they have one or two lines, but they're not using it themselves. And I'm like, well, no wonder you guys are not pushing it, like not pushing it, but no wonder you're not, selling this or, helping your, this is just collecting dust. Like you guys aren't using it yourself, or you don't know anything about it. Or again, you haven't opened the book or opened the online portal. Just even open it, like do small tangible steps to get you those goals. Like if you do 1 hour a week to learn a new product or learn one of the products or learn and all the like collection of cleansers that week, and like, put a chart or put up like a bulletin board and put it in the break room and put a certain ingredient, and just like small to help everybody and help everybody learn. I just think that's super important. But as to your point, yes, it's so expensive. And I think drop shipping is amazing too, for as far as retail. I know like a lot of people can't house like a ton in volume and a ton stock, and they can't because they can't afford it. So thankful these companies will do drop shipping. And again, that is where you, as operations, part of it, need to be coordinating with your marketing, or if you're all the marketing team, you need to be coordinating and have those links and drop those links in your Instagram all the time. And really, try to get that your drop ship orders out. But people want to know what you have, so you got to tell them. And so it's not selling. They want to know. They want to know what I'm doing. They want to know what we're doing. I'm skincare or what I'm using for hair care. And it's not selling. It's just educating, and it's telling people, hey, like this serum actually really worked for me, and I'd love for you to try it. Or if you're doing a laser, like please tell me you're using an SPF. Like that's like the easiest sell. Like that's the easiest sell. If you're not using an SPF, or you're not using, some kind of like SPF like that you can reapply during the day, like just something easy that you need to do. That's it. Really, really easy.
Yeah, I'm currently wearing the Skin Better Compact Wordless Foundation. It's such an easy,
That's what I'm
easy thing.
saying. I didn't know if I should say that, but
Oh yeah,
yeah, there's
this is not sponsored. You can say whatever you want.
there's so many different like ones, and it's like, yes, you're not getting like insane, like you're getting really good coverage, but like it needs to be easy for somebody to do it, and those are really those compacts. Or I like the clear, there's a clear one, there's a tinted one. Those are just super easy to, reapply and do. And it's just such an easy sell. Sunscreen. Like start off like super easy. Start off with sunscreen. And then you can build into, the retinoids and the vitamin C's and things like that.
When every customer that walks in your door, or a patient that walks in your door, needs sunscreen. Like there isn't a patient on planet Earth that does not need sunscreen of some sort. That's like, to your point, if you have to pick one product, one workhorse in your whole practice, everyone needs sunscreen and face wash. I'm like, you got to wash your face. You need to moisturize also. But then we get into like different skin types and this and that and the other. But I think sunscreen's a pretty easy bet. But you mentioned drop shipping, and I mean, not to plug Skin Better, but they have a great program for that. Which I think that during COVID they really built because of the inventory. You couldn't take the carrying cost of inventory on your shelf, and so they have this whole drop ship program where you can, obviously you make money on it as a practice, but you don't have to actually house the inventory. But it's interesting what you said that I love, and I've never heard someone say this so blatantly. They want to know what you have, so tell them. I look at Instagram as like, the holy grail. So Savannah Boda, who I'm sure you guys all know, the Aesthetician, I love her Instagram because I learn about all the products every day from her. watching her do it with her hands, like it's like a one of those ASMR, AMSR things. Watching her like squirt her skincare on her hands is like that for me. Like, how does she like make it look so pretty and elegant? But anyway, not the point of the story. But I learned about all the new products coming out and like what she's using. She has amazing skin, so I'm like, I want to have her skin. Of course, I'll use what she's using. And I know that she's obviously selling products as well because she's, got a big retail based business. But I also learn things from her. And I think about estheticians a lot in practice in general, skincare. You have to educate, I think, so much on skincare because people don't understand it. The ingredients are really confusing. The words are hard to understand. If you don't understand kind of chemistry and like physiology, it doesn't make a lot of sense to you. And so I think you'd actually dwell a bit on skincare and spend more time teaching your audience about that than you do filler and toxin. We know that you inject the Botox, you get the wrinkles gone. Like it's pretty easy to understand. But I think skincare is wildly complex. So if you're an esthetician, or even practice listening to this, thinking, how do I get my Instagram ready to go? What are some things you recommend as far as like reels or content or YouTube videos to help us really get our skincare, tell them part out to our masses?
So great points. I actually met Savannah at the Aesthetic Next. She was lovely. Got to meet her for the first time, but yes, I love her Instagram too. And one of my VAs loves her Instagram. She, and I just heard this the other day too. She does like the same thing, the same routine every day. And it's part of me. It's so relaxing, but she's teaching you, every day. And that's just so about your skin routine. And even if you've seen it 100 times, like you don't care, or maybe there's a new person that I just think that's she's such smart with that. Yes, I think, again, people think that, everybody knows everything, right? Even in my own Instagram, you have to get out of your head that every injector, every esthetician, like they all know this stuff, Laura. Well, no, not everybody does. And you have to decide who you're talking to. So like most of my audience for my, my skincare definitely are on Instagram, but my consulting actually are more on LinkedIn. I find a lot of like connections and more of my consulting on LinkedIn. But yeah, who are you talking to, and who kind of create that persona of who you were talking to. So if you're an injector, if you're trying to grow your practice, or you're an esthetician on Instagram, you need to kind of create that avatar of who you're talking to, where they're hanging out, what are they in Facebook groups, are they in like conversing with the local coffee shop or local restaurant or local like other influencers. I think that's hugely important that you guys, I love Bravo as everybody is. So like there's all these like Bravo accounts. So I'll engage sometimes because that makes me happy too, to naturally engage with like some people who like Bravo, things like that. But Instagram tips, I think I do think professional photos is important. I think I love branding. If somebody doesn't have like clear, crisp like photos, I think even if you want to start small and like again, you're an injector, you're an esthetician, go trade with like your like local photographer. Like I'm sure they would love like a treatment. And do a day, get your hair and makeup done, and do like one day of like a crash course of like a couple hours of some really amazing headshots, and then really amazing action shots, and then you can sprinkle those in forever, and then hopefully they'll help you create a couple reels if you can. Again, clear and crisp video, lighting is important. I think consistency, there's so many so many people about varies of like how much to post and when to post, and it's so about it's about consistency. I would say I feel like even I'm getting more consistent, but it is hard. And again, it's like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to become like an influencer, or are you trying to just do more awareness? Because of course, the more you post, like that's obviously going to happen. You're going to reach more people. But I think burnout is a thing too. You have to, again, delegate and maybe have somebody like help, or have some outside help, or have some, I like one person try to do like an in-house person, and then an outside person, to kind of all try to help each other grow. I love stories. I love interacting with people on stories, and swiping all the way, and then just engaging with people's stories, because I think those are fun. Those are when you kind of see the like the knit and grit of like what's really happening like in their life. I love people's highlights too. I think highlights, I need to do mine better, but I think highlights are super important of like that, like clear, crisp, like information that you want people to see, right away. I love those before and after photos. I mean, I'm going to look at your website too to make sure your website is amazing too, matching your Instagram. But I love talking about those, like, those BBL before and after photos, man. Like, those are just amazing. Those like catch me right away. And it's like, if you can get me a result like that with like, one treatment, that's just incredible. So if you cleared somebody's like acne or like, and you pin that to the top of like your page, I think that's just amazing. So, I mean, that shows me, probably know what you're doing.
Yeah, you got a lot of good nuggets in there. I think a couple things. We love a good pin here to set a record and pin the things that are important. But you mentioned consistency is very hard. Like I will be the first to admit that I do our Instagram here at AR, so I have to build all the things and then do all the captions and do all the all the things. And many days I'm tired. At the end of the day, like I haven't posted Instagram yet. Like holy shit, I got to go home. I got to rush home and build a story really quickly and build a post and get it all done. And it's so much work. I'm trying to hire a social media person. If you know a good one out there, please somebody have them contact me because I've had not such good luck. But it is extra work and it is an extra thing to do. But I think you mentioned, looking at like engaging things like before and afters. We do media days here at Aesthetic Next Productions where we bring a company in, they spend a whole day with us. We do headshots, sort of lifestyle photography. We do like little video vignettes for them, story size or real size vignettes for events as well. We do it for people who are like having cadaver labs and things. And you get a whole like, months and months of content that's professionally done, professionally shot for like a couple $1,000s. Like that's an incredible value to you. And you need it because if you don't have it and you want to play big, you can't play big when you have small, to your point, small photos and small video and small. That's the one place you've got to spend money is having like branding and awareness of your brand. It has to look the same way everywhere. It has to have a certain identity and it has to have a personality, if you will. And folks who don't spend time on that, I think that it bites you long term. But also like in your profile, like the little top part, I was doing this yesterday looking for a practice and I had an injector with no information. Like, I don't know what their credentials are. I don't know where they practice. I don't know who they are. There's no link tree. I'm like, who the heck are you? How would I ever figure out who you are if I have no way to ever find what you connect to? And so I think there's just like some basic things on Instagram that you just got to do. And I think posting consistently is one of them. Having cool content that actually matters and is good and looks good. But also I think the education part. I find myself engaging far more with education, like top 10 reasons why, or 4 things not to do, or, those like number kind of things jump out at me as a learner because I want to know what your top 10 list is, what you think is important. And so I feel like there's a lot to be said there too for like just truly edutainment, if you want to call it that, as part of your Instagram, day to day. Not just, I love all the fun dancing and things in the practice and like all the fun memes and things, but at the end of the day, I want to come to you for education. So I think we do have some meme overload right now happening on the gram. So if you're a meme happy, I would say back off a bit on the memes and maybe go deeper into the education and the before and afters. But what do I know? I'm not an influencer, so I can't say for certain, but that's just my 2 cents.
I think it's so funny that you say that because I've never done a meme until like maybe like 2 weeks ago. And of course, the one meme I do, it was about the new peel that everybody's talking about, like the new bio repeal that everybody's talking about. And I was dying because I just felt like it was just this like, a funny meme, all these other peels looking at the bio repeal, what is going on? Like, why is this blowing up? Are all these influencer like estheticians doing this peel? And of course that peel like went viral. Everybody shared it. My like engagement went like skyrocketing. It was actually perfect timing because it was right before the conference. But I was just like, are you kidding me? Or like a meme did this.
But okay, so let's take a step back and let's think about that. But who did it go viral with? Probably not your patients. They don't even know what that pill means, right? So if you're thinking about memes, your patients who are coming in your practice could give 2 shits about that. They're like, did it work? How much did it cost me? Am I going to have downtime? Is there going to be flaky skin? They care about that. So if your goal is to be a patient-centric Instagram, that's where I think you have a concern because it doesn't work there. If it is to be a consultant, an influencer, a KOL, an industry to industry icon, then that is genius, because that's the kind of stuff that gets shared. You become more popular, you get more engagement. So I think what you said in the very, very beginning of this whole podcast is know why you're doing it and who you want to be and what it will take to get you there, and then go do more of that thing. And if that's what your goal is, genius. But if your goal is patient centric and increase your booked appointments online, put your link in the freaking bio if you want to get a booked online appointment. Share things that are patient centric. Talk about the journey at your practice. When you're a new patient here, here's what happens for you on your first day of our, at our clinic. I think it's whatever you want to be, go be that thing, and make sure your content sort of revolves around that goal. Is my thoughts on it.
And again, the same, your point, it comes down to who you're talking to. I am talking to, I'm kind of redoing kind of like my Instagrams and stuff, but I am talking to other owners. And so that meme, benefited me. I just thought it was funny that it went viral, but yes, that meme benefited me because I'm trying to just create awareness about my brand. Yeah, I sprinkle in some of my skincare stuff, but I think I'm going to be separating that. But I'm trying to just create awareness about my consulting brand. And so that was huge for me. But yeah, it was just so funny. But yes, know who you're talking to, and if you have a brick and mortar, put where you are in your bio.
It's the small things that really. Well, I'm waiting for your Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce meme to come out, because
I just saw another one. I was like, damn it, they did it before me.
I love him more than her. Don't send me death threats, but I love him. New High. His podcast, his brother, is like the best thing ever. But I digress. On Travis Kelce, if you don't marry Taylor Swift, come for me. I'm here waiting on you, buddy. But anyway,
I'll have to listen to their podcast.
moving right along, I want to talk a little bit about what you just said. You're going to split your businesses kind of in half. I have that same drama here. We have, the conference. We have lots of different AR, AN, AMP. We got a lot going on here. So I know the challenge of that. But you just moved to a bigger space. You have lots of room now. You can now hire out estheticians to do the job for you, because you're now doing a lot of consulting. So as a person who's now at this precipice of a big change, how do you think through that, as, kind of in your own head as a coach, of how do you, again, hire and fire, staff up your new clinic with more room? Who do you bring on? What is that vibe going to feel like now if you're not really the central focus of it anymore? And how do you prepare for that next phase of growth?
I think the next phase is like, this is now, oh gosh, this is my consulting is my baby, but this is now my other baby. I am really building something from complete scratch. Yes, I have a clientele already, but I with that clientele, I am really built with even them. Those are like my diehard like clientele that have followed me everywhere, and or just a couple places, and they want to grow with me. And now when they have seen me grow and seen me this consulting, so they are just here to support me. And so we're really building something ground up, and it's what I want to, like, what do I want to do? And how do I want you to feel when you enter this place? I don't even like calling it like a med spa. I think it's going to be more of like a very luxurious kind of like membership kind of skincare community where you're just super taken care of in every aspect. Everything is super seamless. Everything's super easy to book. Everything is super catered, super luxurious to you and truly what you want to accomplish and what we recommend. I feel like we're always so busy and people are busy in life. And I said it actually even to one of my business coaches, I was like, don't you want me to just tell you what to do? Don't you want me just kind of me to, you are so busy, and me, like, you have a stylist, like I'm just your skincare therapist, and you're going to come in and I'm going to tell you exactly what to do from head to toe and what I recommend, and you just sign. And so it's going to be something really curated, and again, slowly building of what that means. But I'm super, super, super excited for it. And the people that have reached out, it's been amazing to help me build it, or who want to work for me. But yes, I'm hiring very slow, and trying to navigate that as an owner, and still grow my consulting company, which my team they're incredible. So they have my back 100%. But yes, I have to practice what I preach, and now I can do all the things, all the operations right alongside with you.
All the things. Well, my dear friend Leslie Tracy, you guys, you may know her as well, Laura, but she has Diamond Hands Media and she has Tracy Donovan Insurance. But anyway, she had an Instagram come out last night or night before about you've got to choose your clients wisely. Like you should spend as much time choosing your clients as you do choosing your business model. And what you just said about what you want to build, oh my gosh, it couldn't be more relevant here because if you want a person who is going to come in like I am that way, I'm like, I don't know what I need. I hope that you do. I'm paying you as the expert. Write it down, put it in my cart. Here's a credit card. I got to go home. I'm in a hurry. If you want that clientele, that's a whole different animal of who you're going to market to. I think even LinkedIn for that audience is probably a good place to find them. They're all working professionals. They're very busy. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. That's where you get really granular and specific about who you want to cater to because you're building a very unique curated brand that is only going to appeal to a certain group. And when it does, it's going to be a home run, but you got to find that little niche of people who will love it and really invest in that. And I think that's where people get, I think, also confused with Instagram and such of like this shotgun approach of you got to know who you want to work with, who's in your tribe, and go all in to recruit them and find that one influencer in that group and invest in her to tell all of her friends. That's a quick business build too. So, well, good luck with the endeavor. I'm sure it will be wildly successful, and I want to hear more whenever it gets all up and running.
Very much. I'm so super, super excited. And I love her too. I had lunch with her. She was awesome.
Yeah, she is a mess. She is so much fun and so smart. I just love her to death. That's the cool thing. All these women in the industry are so powerful. People always ask about, this gender bias. I'm like, listen, I work in a female dominated industry where women rule the world. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have never had to worry about a seat at the table or ask for one. Like, we just sit down here, kick our high heels off and put our feet on the table. Like, women rule the world here in aesthetics. Sorry, guys, if you're listening. Many of our guys are also important too, but
No, I met her in the spring too, with you that day. And then we had lunch and she was just a powerhouse. Love her. I love her energy and I love her Instagram too and her LinkedIn.
well, I mean, to that point, kind of as we wind down here, you are a female, right? We're all moms and daughters and sisters and wives and friends, and doing it all is very hard. And I think you're now expanding your empire, almost like doubling it with this new endeavor. How do you, for yourself and for also people who you're coaching, help them to understand the balance of that and not getting burned out and like sticking with it even when it really sucks and you can't see your kids, your family, your husband, whoever it is, and kind of fighting through it to get to the other side? Do you have any good pearls for us on survival as a female business owner?
I can be really honest. I love Shakira's honesty too. I sometimes don't. It's very, very hard. And I think more people need to talk about how hard it is for like the balance of everything. And like the mom guilt is definitely there. And I'm trying to build a better life for, my children and my husband. And along it's balance. It's not easy. Every day is, different. And some days you feel really good about your mom life and being a wife and being a business owner and everything. And some days you just feel such guilt and it's awful. And you're going to have those off days. And that's what makes me a better mom. I feel like I'm happier when I'm working. I know people that love to stay home and I just couldn't stay home full time. I love working and I love what I do. I, my kids are, my number one priority. But it makes me a better mom to go to work every day and know that I am growing this. And I hope they will see it, someday and someday, be very, very proud. But yes, it's very, very hard. And you're going to have tears and you're going to have people that push back. I've had a lot, like a weird, like a lot of people push back that maybe I'm working too much or that my goals are too big. And I think nobody can tell you that your goals are too big. These are like my own personal goals. So I think that needs to be more talked about, that maybe those are their fears and not my own.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think about my childhood, not to get on a childhood soapbox. That's a whole different podcast. But my dad worked like 24 hours a day all the time. I never think about him not being there when I was a kid. I think about all the lessons I learned because he was so devoted to his craft that I'm the same way. Like it never dawns on me that he didn't come to things. My mom covered the gap. She was great. She was at everything. But it never occurred to me. I never had like the resentful things of he wasn't at my dance recital. He wasn't at my whatever graduation. I knew he had things to do. He had way more important things to do than watch me tap dance as a 7-year-old. Like he had bills to pay and a house to support. It's like I think my little boy is really understanding that now. He's getting the fact that we just moved to a new house this weekend of like if I don't work, we don't have these nice things. And so I think that part of it too is watching your parent succeed and grow and even fight through trials and tribulations and learn to have that stick to itiveness to come out of the other side. And I don't know, I think it's good for our children to see it. It was good for me to see it as a kid. And it is very, very hard. I agree. But whenever they come back and tell you, like my little boy this weekend, he's like, "Mom, you are really smart." I'm like, "Oh, well, maybe he's listening. I'm not the enemy today. I'm not stupid." So that's always a plus for your 10-year-old. But I think it is challenging. I think what you said about we don't discuss it enough, we don't talk about it nearly enough. Motherhood's already a challenge on its own without any other factors being involved. And you start adding in being a business owner and hiring and firing and trying to coach and optimize people. And, everyone's depending on you to pay their own mortgage and their own car payment and their own kid daycare. And if it's, if you're not able to deliver, then it affects a lot of lives now. I think there's just a lot of stress that comes with that. And so I appreciate you saying it is challenging. But how do you, as we kind of end on a high note here, first of all, what's coming up next for you? Because I know you probably have a lot of things in your social calendar coming up soon, but also, are there any things that you'd recommend for us to stay sane? Should we be doing meditation? Should we be doing yoga? Should we be working out, drinking a lot of cocktails? Like, what is the holy grail for us to keep it all together?
All of the above. But I was going to say back to your point, and yes, it is hard to do all these things, but I think you need to, prioritize your time. I mean, I live and die by my Google Calendar. I time block everything. I know like some people are like, what? But you have to just put it in your calendar, checking emails, checking socials, connecting, networking, connecting with your team, outsourcing everything that you can. Again, if it takes you like 5 hours to do a Canva slide, like hand it off, like just hand it off because your time is better spent, somewhere else. And I think once you start freeing up your, time like that, life gets a little bit more manageable. And like, I can bring my daughter to like ballet and tap, and cause I do and like enjoy those things, but at the same time, I'm, usually on my computer too, working a little bit, but I, yeah, I think having those family and friend times are super important. Like you need to, again, Google Calendar, you need to schedule the time with your family and your friends. I think checking in with your friends and family and scheduling girls' nights and scheduling your husband, like husband nights. I think that's super important. That's what makes me happy. I think checking in with all of them, even we had like a big play date, over the weekend and I hadn't seen people in a long time. And that's just what made filled my heart. That was really, really, that made me happy. That's kind of like the nice balance. I think next for me, there's so much we're working on retail strategies for people for the next 6 months to the year. I mean, everybody should have their holiday content pretty much hopefully done, if not almost ready to go. Their like retail strategy for holiday, all their Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas. You want to create like a really curated like retail, like really nice retail and services like packages for your holiday. Again, people want to know what you want them to do. So you got to tell them in November, December. And I think people start shopping for Christmas now and all in October. So you got to start putting those packages together really, really early. And I think hopefully I'm going to be speaking a lot this next year too. It's super exciting. Some other conferences coming up and hope to be with you guys again. And yeah, it's been super fun and onboarding another big client soon. So just kind of doing our thing, going in there and getting that checklist done and seeing where we can kind of fill in the gaps for them. We call it like the cleanup crew, seeing what we can do. And they're surviving, but we want them to be, thriving, and we want them to be happy, and we want them now to live the life that they want and outsource everything else.
Yeah, I'll do Black Friday on like that Monday. Just so you know. No, but I think getting all your content done, but just because you mentioned that as we again end here, I had a discussion yesterday with an industry person. The recession is real. Like we're starting to see people miss their numbers as far as reps. We're starting to see a bit of a shrink in new customers into our market, into our funnel. So as you think about your holiday season, guys, think about that. Like how could you make various price points of packages where people who want to work with you and do business with you and spend money with you because they want to support local businesses can actually opt in. So think about this year maybe more than ever having lots of various price points and things to get them in and having some really cool I love when things are like all packaged together with a really neat name and they have components that all fit together. It just makes sense to buy it as a little package. Spend some time there, look at your numbers, do some good data mining to find out what you should be promoting. But yeah, we're at October 1. You got to start getting that stuff out because we all are pinching our pennies, I think, and we're starting to buy. I buy incrementally all Q4 so that when it gets to December 25th, it's not a huge financial hit all at the end of the year. So get it out early. And it's open house season, Laura. It's open house and event season. So you got to prepare all the catering budgets and all the event promos and the nights of beauty that you got to have and get all your reps there. It's a Q4 is like mayhem, but the most fun as a rep. I enjoyed it so much. I was at an event. I think I did one year 135 events in Q4 as a rep, and I freaking loved it. It was so fun. I would do 3 and 4 a day, but it is chaos. So, if you guys aren't ready yet, take a Xanax, drink a martini, and get ready because it's coming.
We're calling all these bartenders now, bartenders, caterers, all these balloon people, selfie people, like, so we kind of just coordinate everything. So it's fun talking to all of them.
Well, if you want to work with Laura and her company to help with event coordination and the balloon guy, but also coaching, mentoring, helping with your retail strategy, helping you with modalities and training your people and really launching things in a successful manner, definitely reach out to her. I'll let you give your Instagram, website, how to get a hold of you.
My Instagram is Laura Jeannette and Co. And my website is www.laurajeannetteandco.com.
Makes it easy. I like that too. And I'll link that all in the comments and in the podcast write-up. So, well, thank you for coming on today. For the record, you've been a fabulous guest, as I knew you would be. And I appreciate coming to Aesthetic Next and being on our podium there, but also sharing your insights today. And hopefully we'll see you again very soon. That's my hope.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I will see all of you guys next week for another episode of For the Record. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of For the Record. This podcast is not intended to provide legal or medical advice. It's for entertainment, education, and information purposes only. For more information on this week's guest or to get started with Aesthetic Record, email us at info@aestheticrecord.com. Be sure to tune in next week for more fresh perspectives on disrupting the status quo and surviving in the aesthetics industry.